Welcome to the California Avenue podcast. I'm your host, Unconventionally Black, UB for short, and this is a Black-centered space and place where all are welcome and where we discuss unconventional topics unapologetically from lived experiences and perspectives. I'm joined today by Kelsey. Say hey, girl.
Hey, everyone.
And today we're going to break down a topic about chronic pain, illness, and disability. So I felt like this topic was really important because disability is not often discussed. And often when people think of disability, they think of like physical, visible disabilities. And there are a lot of invisible disabilities that don't get enough light. So I'm joined here today by Kelsey because she also has a disability as well as I do. So Kelsey, what's your diagnosis? What age did you receive that diagnosis?
So I was diagnosed with SLE lupus when I was 13. So I've had it for about 8 years now. It's been an up and down battle, but I would say that I am able to manage my pain more. But there is still, those hard days, and it's important to really have that emotional support too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. What is SLE? You said SLE lupus. Yeah. What are like the symptoms of that diagnosis?
So when you have lupus, it's when your immune system is overactive and it begins to attack healthy tissues in your body. So this will actually be different. Mine symptoms in the beginning of my diagnosis, I had heart problems, I had kidney problems, liver problems, my chest was hurting, I had joint problems. But my primary diagnosis from my lupus was arthritis.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, your primary diagnosis was arthritis, and from those symptoms, that's when they found that you had lupus?
Yes, so like a whole bunch of things were going wrong with me in my body.
Mm-hmm.
The primary thing was rheumatoid arthritis, but I did have, ailments all around the board with my liver, kidney, chest pain, fluid around the heart, you name it.
So, yeah, that's really intense, especially like to feel that at 13, like,
yeah,
that's a lot to experience at that age.
Mm-hmm.
What was like your experience with your symptoms? Like, what was like the feelings that you had around your symptoms?
A lot of pain, a lot of loneliness, a lot of feeling unheard, unseen. As you do have an invisible illness, I felt invisible through the whole thing. I am very bubbly and strong as a person, so a lot of people really didn't think anything was going on with me. So a lot of those feelings came up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I can't imagine in your particular situation, like how that felt to be in that experience. Because that is very difficult, very, very difficult to experience those things and then not have anyone else see how it's affecting you, because you are a very bubbly person. Very happy and like very joyous. So like I think a lot of people have a hard time seeing when people who are typically happy like are in pain.
Right.
And I'm sorry that other people couldn't see that and sit in that with you and you felt alone in that experience.
Yes, thank you for that. It feels good to now be heard. I feel like it's more like of me healing my inner child, to be honest with you. Now I didn't feel like I was heard throughout my childhood having lupus and having this chronic illness, but now like doing these type of podcasts and talking about it it really helps me so much connecting with other people.
Yeah, and everyone should be willing to listen.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, because it is like, I'm glad that you feel good about talking about it, because it does bring that like clarity, right? That it's like, for so many people that weren't able to see the pain and see the loneliness that comes with pain, chronic pain, it's very discouraging to be in so many settings and are like, well, but you look okay.
Right.
It's very disturbing. And yeah, I think the way that we get to having more peace as just humans in general in isolated experiences is to talk about it. So thanks for being willing to.
Yeah, of course.
Like, really appreciate it, because I know it can be like a little triggering at times, because you're like, look,
I almost shed a couple tears, but I can't enough.
You'll catch me slipping today.
I know.
I feel that. Yeah, so I am still in the process of getting another diagnosis. But we haven't got a chance to talk in a minute. So yeah, I wanted to share my experience as well, even though they're significantly different. I've noticed that with my chronic illness, pain, and disability, that anyone else I've come across in this like realm is actually very welcoming, and it's not comparative whatsoever. I've never been in spaces where someone's made me feel like less than when they have a chronic illness as well. It's kind of like we're on the same frequencies. With my condition, so I have generalized HSD, which is hypermobility spectrum disorder. It's a genetic condition that was inherited from my mom, actually. So it answers a lot as to why she has the experiences that she's had as well. But this condition is a part of the Ehlers-Danlos like conditions. The Ehlers-Danlos Society is where you can find more information about genetic conditions in general. But generalized HSD and hypermobility Ehlers-Danlos syndrome are the same thing, essentially. They're both genetic, and the symptoms range. So it doesn't mean one is worse or better necessarily. It means that it's like, it just ranges from person to person. But I was born with it. And so when I was younger, I would have like more hyper flexibility, and it's often just disregarded. I was like knock-kneed. That's often disregarded. But generalized HSD, it affects all of my joints pretty much. It's saying that I don't have the stability in my joints. The collagen that holds up our joints and makes them like stable and strong, there's not a lot. There's more like my joints will like dislocate or sub I don't know how to say the word, sublux. Pretty much they shift. My joints shift involuntarily. And the main important, what did you say?
Is that painful for you when they shift?
Oh, extremely painful. And it happens frequently, and people are like, oh, well, my joints move too. Honey, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing as you cracking your joints. This is me like sitting in my chair, combing my pup, and like my shoulder is popping in and out of place continuously. Doing this, like lifting things, like there's, I don't know how many joints there are in our bodies, but I know it's about 300. And yeah, I've literally felt so many parts of my body just shift and move, and I don't have any control over it. Very painful. It also causes GI issues. So remember that one time I was like super uber bloated? That one day you came over?
No, I don't.
Yeah. It was, okay, there was a one day where you came over and it was you and Kaylee, and we were at my mom's and I was like extremely bloated. Maybe I'll show a picture, but that's actually like part of the condition. So I've had it quite often where out of nowhere my stomach is like 3 times its size typically, and it's extremely uncomfortable because yeah, it adds extra pressure onto my joints. And then I also have like skin abnormalities. So I'm easily bruised. If I get scratched, it can become a bruise. I wake up with random bruises. I'm very fragile in a sense. And I don't like saying that because I don't want anyone in these streets to think that they can try me. Because if I have my braces on, it's over for you. But
don't try the chronic ill baddies. Don't try us. Like, we cannot. No, we're not to be played with.
Like, what do you think we endured all this pain for you to come with the bullshit?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. So yeah. That, and then I also have a neurological condition. I haven't told you about this. Maybe I have, but one day in January, I got really sick, and I got pins and needles from my stomach up. You remember this?
Yeah, I remember you telling me, yeah.
My hands after that, I mean, it was a long time of pins and needles, like, and it came in waves. And then also after that, my hands like seized and stayed like this. Like I could not move them. And then shortly after, I lost my ability to walk. And I had to like get carried to the car from my dad's spot to the emergency room. And I begged them to do the testing for multiple sclerosis because I've been talking to my doctor about it. And they refused because I had an MRI done in 2022, but these were new symptoms that I haven't experienced ever before. And I tried to articulate that, but they were very dismissive. And that's another topic later on in this conversation. But yeah, so I still suffer with those symptoms.
You have a diagnosis, a clear diagnosis for that.
Yeah, because multiple sclerosis, I mean, multiple sclerosis is a bitch. Like that is something I don't necessarily want, but I know the patterns of it because I've done a lot of research. Once I started getting sick, I got into a lot of research about different disabilities. And yeah, so it wasn't a good feeling. Literally, I couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. And these people were like, didn't want to do shit. Didn't want to do no testing. And I literally left the hospital maybe a day or two later and still didn't have full function of my legs. I had a walker. I used it for the remainder of that week.
So what did they do?
They didn't do shit. They just let me lay there. And then I got physical therapy once. So I like have a personal vengeance for the medical system because that was the worst pain in my life. Literally. The worst pain I've ever experienced. And I couldn't control it. It kept coming. I took ibuprofen, 800, and it still kept coming. The waves. Just time, it went away. But I still couldn't fully walk. So I can't stand the fucking medical system. You might have to bleep that out, but coming for your ass.
Yeah.
I've had horrible experiences. Horrible. So what has your experience been with your disability?
With the hospitals specifically?
Treatment, anything.
Wow, with hospitals, because I was diagnosed at 13, I feel like I got a little bit easier treatment because I was in the pediatric area, and also my mom was advocating for me a lot. So I didn't really, on my end, I was so sick. I didn't even recognize any, you know, any like discrimination or anything like that. But I did notice that going forward, they just really weren't so receptive to me telling them like certain medications I don't want to like take, or I'm not really comfortable with taking because they do put me in pain. For example, I had to like take injections weekly, and they switched my injections because I start getting problems like you were saying too. So they tried to switch my injection to this other medicine that would help with my skin, and I tried it out, and it was a lot of pain. Like just putting that in, the needle in me, and then the medicine going in also. I was like, I've done it before. I've always done it, but with this one, it hurt so bad, and I was expressing that to my doctor. And it was more like forceful, like you need to take this medicine. And I'm like, I'm telling you, my body is like high key rejecting it. Like I can't take this medicine. And so she was still trying to push it, like, okay, we can have a nurse come to your home and give it to you. And it's just like, there has to be other alternatives rather than like, you know, forcing like certain medications, you know, into other, like into people's bodies. You know, not everyone's body is the same, and not everyone's body is going to respond the same to medications. And I think that doctors need to open up, you know, their minds to understand that, you know, it's like not every pill is going to fix like, you know, the issues. So that's one of the things that I've experienced. But going back to the hospitals, I'm actually fearful to go to the hospital. I'm very fearful now because I hear stories like yours quite frequently, to the point where I'm just like, I try my hardest to take care of, I don't want to go to the hospital. I am scared. I'm now an adult, so it's a whole different area. I'm Black, I'm a female, and there's a lot that goes into that. And it scares me. I don't want to go into the hospital and come out sick again. And I don't trust the health system. I don't. So.
Yeah. Yeah. You get a self-soothing technique, because it is heartbreaking to hear that experience. Like, just like makes me want to go up and like slap the fuck out of these doctors, because what the hell?
Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch?
It's because most of them do it for the money, you know? Yeah. I noticed that. Like, even when I go to the doctor, they're so rushy. On to the next patient, to the next patient. And it's like, take your time. You know, they don't ever ask about mental health or anything. Yes. And it's ridiculous to me. I'm like, you went to school for 12 years, probably more. And it's like, you know, and I'm not knocking them for everything, because I definitely do think that Western medication did save my life, because when I was like in that state, like, yes, the only thing that would help me was that medicine. You know what I mean? But it comes to a point where you do have to have that balance, you know, like you can't just continuously take that Western medicine. You do need it sometimes, you know, but not all the time. And doctors don't think about that either. So.
That is very, very true. And yeah, I've unfortunately had like just so many horrible experiences in the emergency room. I've also watched my father, who has chronic illness as well, have horrible experiences. Yeah, my dad has church Strauss, which is a condition that affects his breathing. And it's interesting because my dad has had asthma all his fucking life, and this is when they caught it was way later. I mean, my dad would stay in the hospital always when I was younger. I remember going to the hospital with him. I don't remember how they treated him until I started becoming his advocate when he got sick, because he, you know, seeing how they treated him, and it would re-trigger me. And a lot of times, like, I would leave the hospital crying. A lot of times I've been in the hospital crying because I'm trying to explain my symptoms. And while in the midst of trying to explain that, hey, this is a pattern that has happened, and I've spoke with my doctor, and he said, my primary care doctor said that if these symptoms happen again, then go to the emergency room. I've done so much research to know that MS flares are very hard to catch, and you dead ass have to catch it in a flare. And that was the first time I've had a flare like that. And usually they're just really big ones. And then like, it like kind of maybe lingers. And then there's another big one and it's just unpredictable. So the fact that they did nothing and immediately were dismissive of my symptoms, like immediately, as soon as I started talking about it, they were just like, oh, it's because you didn't drink enough water.
Oh, okay.
What?
So it's dehydration.
Dehydration symptoms, me seizing and staying like this and then it coming in waves is dehydration symptoms. Me not being able to walk right now is because I'm dehydrated. Thank you. Shut the fuck up. That shit irritated the mess out of me.
Yeah. No, that's frustrating. How did that make you feel?
Girl, I was in a rage in the hospital. And I like, because I was literally, when your pain is that bad, and you're advocating for yourself, trying to advocate for yourself while you're trying to like, the only thing I could do was breathe. Like, so significant. That shit hurt so bad. The only thing that I could do was breathe because they had me sitting in a wheelchair for hours in the waiting room and still didn't do anything. I literally just sat. And yeah, it was extremely triggering and I cried, definitely. I had an outburst, and that made the doctor even more upset and he walked away and I didn't see him again after that.
You cried?
Mm-hmm. And I told him why I was crying because I was very frustrated at this treatment and I'm like, I'm trying to tell you this needs to be tested and you're not going to help me. And yeah, he didn't. He left. And then the next person that came just said because of my last MRI that they're not going to do anything. But I literally, it's okay. I have documentation to prove that was some bullshit and not medically professional and it was negligence. But here we are today.
I'm so sorry you had to experience that. That's a lot for someone to go through, especially while you're in pain. Like, yeah, I don't know. There needs to be something in like place for like people with disabilities to have an advocate for them, because it's just like when you're in pain, like you're saying, like the only thing that's going through your mind is like, I want to be out of this pain. Like, I don't want to freaking advocate for myself and like make you understand what I'm going through. Like, I'm going through something and it's painful. Like, I'm not lying. I'm not here for just for the fuck of it. I'm sorry. Like, in the hospital, in the wheelchair, just because. Like,
for real.
I'm saying, like, people don't even have empathy anymore. I don't even know if people even have a heart. I don't even know. Like,
yeah. No, for real. And these are in densely ethnic populations too. Hollywood. This was in Hollywood, so there's a lot of ethnic minorities in that area. God. And there's a lot of doctors who are ethnic minorities that are not representative of it.
So they're actually colored people. That's the biggest slap in the face.
Yeah, I mean it's like, yeah. So. Whew, girl, that shit gets me heated every time. But I'm glad, like you, I feel the same way. Like talking about it, it does help a lot.
This podcast is really healing. It's super healing. So
yay! I'm glad you're a part of it, honestly. Because like I said, you got good insight for someone so young. You mind telling your age?
I'm 20. I'm gonna be 21, but I'm 20.
And watch the shit that comes out of her mouth, you guys. It is mad impressive. I'm like, at 20, I wish.
Dude, that's what chronic pain does to you when you get it at 13. Like,
you mature very fast. Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah,
I can see that. Since you got it at 13, and now you're 20. Do you feel like your condition is part of your identity?
Wow. That's such a crazy question. I just was actually thinking about this. Wow. I feel like I have carried lupus as my identity for a while. And now that I am getting older and coming into who I am, I don't want to view it as like who I am anymore. It's super because I'm not my pain, I'm not my trauma. You know, that is something that I went through, but I have overcome it and I'm stronger than that, you know? It's a lot, Sky. I really want to cry.
I love you. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, lupus. She's not my identity. I call her she. It's like my alter ego. She keeps name, I feel, because without my lupus, I feel like I wouldn't be able to accomplish certain things that I have in my life. In a way, I am kind of grateful for my diagnosis because I have grown so much. My awareness, it extends so far, not just to my mind, but also in my body to understand what's going on. Certain things trigger my pain. I've noticed that certain environments, when I'm around certain people, I start to get in pain. And I'm really grateful now to have that awareness, you know what I mean? And it goes back to, you know, correlating that back to my identity, because it's like, that's not who I am. I'm bigger than lupus, but it helped me in a way, you know? I'm not sure if I'm explaining this. I'm trying to in the best way possible.
No, you're doing a good job. I get what you're putting down. Like, I'm picking up what you're putting down, in other words. Like, it sounds like you've done a lot of work to have an awareness of your symptoms and have this kind of cohesion, like a cohesive experience where you're aware of these symptoms, you're aware of certain limitations within your symptoms. And even though those things are important to have an awareness of, it's not all of you. Your pain isn't who you are. It doesn't make up part of your identity. It's part of your experience, it sounds like. Is that
exactly? It's a part of my experience, and I don't carry that. I try not to carry it with me. But I did feel like that was the only way, with me having lupus and having a diagnosis, I would be more accepted and heard. And so I definitely noticed that I would kind of like just use like my lupus a lot. Like, okay, it's not like, oh, like a lupus card, more like I have lupus, like really telling people like I have lupus, like, you know, like letting it be known. And now I'm just like, you know, if you get to know me, you'll know that this is what I go through, but it's not something, and more like I'm displaying with identity, if that makes sense. Like, I am Kelsey and I have a chronic illness. It's not like that anymore. But yeah.
All right, thank you, love, so much for sharing your experience and how you've come to view your condition in relation to your identity. I'm gonna say it again. I am proud of the work you've done. It really shows. It really does.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right. So next question. Do you feel like you've had proper treatment? I know you shared a little bit before, but
yes and no. More that now that I'm more aware of my condition in my body, I do feel like I have more of a grip over my treatment. But when I wasn't, you know, as aware and I was really going through more pain, I feel like I got the regular treatment that anyone else would have gotten. Like, it wasn't something specific for me, like really attending to my needs and what I really needed, but it was just, okay, this is what we do for everyone else. It's a standard procedure, so we're going to do it to you. And it didn't really, again, since my body is different, like you said, you feel like you're fragile. I really resonate with that. I feel like my body is also very fragile, and some of the medications I really just can't take. So they did give me like 80 milligrams of prednisone, and that's a lot for my body. So I blew up. That was something that also I had a lot of trauma from that, because I lost like my whole identity. Literally, I looked like a completely different person. So that was the treatment that I got, and I felt like it wasn't necessary. Again, it was just, that's what they did to everyone, so they did it to me. They didn't really look specifically into what was really going on to treat me, like, so it was like, okay, here's the medicine, but then I got sick from the medicine. I had like 3 other conditions from it, some more pain, like nerve pain. I had like shaking symptoms. It was just a whole lot, like more new pain too, symptoms just everywhere. So it was just like, it didn't make sense to me, but yeah, thankfully now I am able to manage it. I'm on a lower dose, but I'm still on the medication.
Yeah, I remember that time. And yeah, that's completely understandable that was, it felt like your identity was lost. Because yeah, that watching your body go through significant changes, drastic changes, is like, it does a lot to the mental.
Yeah, in such a fast time. I mean, like, my face blew up within not even a month, like less than a month. I'm like, so it was pretty crazy to go through.
And the fact that it's like the reason why that these, in my like studies, right, studying psychology, counseling, like it's called a soft science, but soft science, hard science, they're very much aligned. There's like similar processes. From my experience in like studying like research, like in having access to how to study to research, it's really important that the research for medicine and medications and treatments are done, and diagnoses are done for individuals within the ethnic communities, because a lot of times that research and those populations that they're gathering from isn't the minority groups. And they don't pay enough attention to the genetic characteristics, how that could be influencing your reaction to certain medications.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm glad that they've, like, it sounds like they're coming around to it now that that's not your experience anymore. But the fact that you even have to like say something, like the fact that you have to advocate for that, and it was evident, like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It is a lot. It's heartbreaking, and I'm again sorry that this was your experience, but I'm glad you're talking about it, so that if there are medical professionals watching this, that they can become more empathetic and understanding, and know that we are not here for shits and giggles. These experiences we're complaining about isn't so that we can have a free pass out of life. Very much the opposite. Because life could give a damn if you have a diagnosis or disability.
Yeah.
Society we live in. But so have you felt exclusion and judgment for disclosing your disability? It's in the Black community or from family, anyone?
From family, yes. It's just more of like, they don't understand what I go through, and they definitely do think it's a joke. They think I'm like, and sometimes, it does get thrown into my face. So it's, that really makes me feel invalidated in my own pain and what I go through. I feel I gaslight myself sometimes. I'm like, it's not that bad. Get through it, push through. I tell myself that, push through, you're strong. And it's like, no, I need to have supportive people around me and people that love me and understand what I'm going through, because that's it. I'm never faking my condition. Like, what I go through is what I go through. And sometimes I'm like, I just don't even know how to even ask for help, even to this day. It's so hard for me. Like, when I'm going through pain, I don't know if it's something that I can handle like on my own, or if I should honestly reach out to someone, and I don't know who to reach out to either. Maybe, unconventionally. You're gonna have to cut that out.
Okay, we'll cut it out.
I'll say it again. Okay, I'll reach out to like UB, you know. I feel like you would be a good support, and both of us, like having that mutual, you know, like support for each other. I feel like we have that already. But definitely like strengthening that bond and our connection, I feel like that would help the both of us, honestly. Because yeah, feeling alone going through a chronic condition isn't it. And having a support system, it doesn't make the pain go away, but it makes your condition 10 times more livable, more, what is the word? Not acceptable, but I think you know what I mean. It
like
just
bearable.
more bearable, more like you can cope with it. You know what I mean? Because you have that love, you have that support constantly around you. When you don't have that, your pain will get worse.
Oh, yes. Talk about a trigger, honey. First of all, like, family, damn. Like, I have no choice but to be around these motherfuckers, and y'all can't get it together. That is, to think that you would like, I've definitely had people that thought I was making shit up, so I understand, and people that's like super close to me, people I've dated have thought I've made this shit up. So I know how heartbreaking it is to have family members that aren't understanding of it or are dismissive, and that gaslighting is real. When you go to the doctors, that shit is very much there too. So it's even worse to get it from like all fucking angles. Like, that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad though that you're talking about how important your support system is, and being in those environments that aren't supportive, how triggering that is. Because I hope these motherfuckers watch this video and it's all love, you know, like, but do better.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah. I know that in the past, we don't have to go into the full nitty gritty of it, but I know that in the past I haven't been, from my personal experience, there was a time where we were on a hike, and even though I was experiencing a shit ton of pain in the same time as you, I'm sure symptoms were different, but I wasn't up to it either. I really wasn't, but I wanted to show like a really good time. So we went on this hike, and it was in Hollywood, and that hike is pretty intense. Honestly, I tried to do it not recently, but maybe, I don't know, a couple of months before I got really sick, and I couldn't even do half of what I used to. So we were on this hike, and I was trying to get us like to go through this hike and rush kind of, because I had work and we had to get back to the house, and I really felt that crunch on time. And this is not an excuse. I'm here to say that this shit wasn't okay, and that I should have had a moment to just breathe and sit with myself and identify what was wrong within myself before I brought this to you. But I felt like I was dismissive of how you're feeling because you were explaining your pain, and I was trying to just kind of push through it. And I think that's also my internalized gaslighting for myself as well. Push through it. But that shit was inappropriate. That was not okay of me to have not sit in my shit, first of all. And not just one, like, I could have asked more questions instead of just assuming. And I mean, I don't feel like it was a big period of time, and I hope I didn't make you feel uncomfortable for the rest of your stay with me, because you did end up staying longer after that. but yeah, I just wanted to hold space for my ignorance because it really is just ignorance. Like I dead ass couldn't like put my shit aside for a moment. So I'm sorry for that.
It's okay, and honestly, I appreciate, the apology and everything, because at the end of the day, like, you are understanding, like, my perspective and also, like, yours, and it's, like, it's just healing all together, because it does stem from the gaslighting, from your own, experience, and when you're able to really have that openness and that love and understanding, it does extend to other people. So it's like, I love you, you be. Like you're honestly at the top of my list. Like, you've been there for me through a lot, like a lot. And I'm not holding that one thing against you. I do think that because it has happened so much throughout my family. I was just like, whatever, you know what I mean? But for you to actually come and like actually apologize and take accountability, it means a lot, because no one has ever done that, ever, for me. I'm like, I just dismiss it. It's fine, whatever, like I'm cool, but to have someone actually take accountability and, apologize, it does make me feel heard, seen, and loved, like, yes, like you understand like what I'm going through, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'm glad that we got to talk about it again, because I'm not weird like that, and we're not going to talk about this in this format for the very first time. Like that's very like influencer type shit. So the more we talk about it, the more I can identify where I was wrong in that situation. But thank you for allowing me to talk about it. It's completely okay if you told me to fuck off from that situation.
I don't even have that in me. I wouldn't. The good overpowers the bad. Like you're just the good's like, and then you did like one little. I'm like, I don't care.
Thank you, love.
Yeah.
Thanks. It is definitely growth. So I know we talked about this a little bit about coping. Having a good support system is important. I think you are definitely a great support for me as well. And I'm happy to come when I have the money and the time. I will be there to advocate for you if I'm better. I would love to have you here with me if I'm not feeling good. So I'm glad we talked about that. But any other ways that you cope with your condition?
I do a lot of spiritual work, a lot of yoga, meditation, and journaling, and just connecting back with nature. I've noticed that really helps me so much with my pain and then my mental also. So that's the biggest thing. Yoga really helped me a lot. It's a journey. I've been doing it now consistently for about a year. And I actually see improvements. I didn't think that, doing stretches literally would actually help my pain, but actually, UB, you got to cut that out. UB, you really actually put me onto that. When we hung out and we had our week-long sleepover, we stretched together. And I did stretch before then, but it wasn't like something I thought like to, include in my regimen. But when I was with you, that was something that actually like opened my mind to, doing that. I'm like, wow, like this is cool. And then having the music playing, and it was a whole vibe when we were doing it, it was super healing. And yeah. I really like that. So that's something that I continuously do, and dance. Dance a lot. Dance and just move my body, let the energy out of me. Yes, yoga, movement, and meditation.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that throughout this podcast you've identified Western medicine does help to a certain extent with certain things, but I think you mentioning yoga and more of like a holistic approach to your healing is very, very important. Because and mental health, like you hit all of the things that I would say is important for people with chronic conditions. And I'm glad that we got to stretch together, because movement is very important for mine as well. I feel like your rheumatoid arthritis symptoms are probably more similar to my HSD, like joint instability symptoms. Like stability is very hard for me. I have to wear knee braces sometimes, and I use mobility aids sometimes because I'm unable to stand for that long. Or I need to sit down because I'm in pain. So, yeah, I think, movement is important for disabilities that affect movement. So I stay dancing in my room. Like,
and it's like, I love yoga because you don't have to be able to do every position, every movement, just whatever your body can take at that time. Don't overdo it. Just understand, like, you're still loved and accepted as you are. Just do what you can.
Yes, because there's a lot of shame and like judgment within ourselves and like anger and frustration, because it's like one day you may be good and one day it's like complete shit, and you're like, why can't we just be on the same page? I have shit to do. It gets inconvenient at times to not feel good, and then you feel bad for feeling bad, and that's not something we should carry with us. So thank you for being able to say that you relieve that, and saying that it's something that's important for you to relieve for yourself. Flow with Tiff, she has a yoga, like hip hop, like music kind of element to hers, and she is such a good energy. I feel like you would love her.
Really?
Like, so if you can get in her Zoom classes, I think they're Zoom, but that's a good option since you said you like yoga. And then I know acupuncture has helped a lot with my joint issues. I have the homie Dr. Weber out in San Diego who's been helping me because he has his own practice. And that has been extremely helpful with coping. And then of course, having a good support system. I agree. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Yeah. And lastly, what's something that you wish other people knew about your disability or disabilities in general?
I would just wish that people would just, I guess, understand more what I go through. That's pretty much it. I've always told myself, like, I would never wish this pain on my worst enemy. I just wish that, people would just have more of a open heart and more empathy when it comes down to everyone. Not just chronic pain, but every illness, anything that we have going on. I just feel like we all need to just open up our minds and our hearts more to everyone, and the world would be a better place. Maybe I'm dreaming with that, but I don't know. I really think that that's something that would help.
Yeah. I feel that. Walking around with misunderstanding leads to isolation. And there's really, if you have the privilege of not having anything affect your day-to-day, like if you don't have to think about how you're gonna get up and do something as simple as washing the dishes, because it literally causes no type of pain or like issues. Like if you have that privilege of not waking up in chronic pain, I think you can do your best to understand what it's like for people that do have chronic pain to wake up like that. As someone who hasn't had understanding before, I know that the best thing for understanding, and through my studies, is asking questions, and not making assumptions. Don't give your unsolicited advice. Don't say you need to drink more water. Don't say dumb shit like that. Like, keep that.
Right. Like, ask more about how you're feeling rather than just giving that advice. Like, do this, do that. Like, how do you feel right now in this moment? Like, when you asked me that in the beginning of the podcast, like, I got chills running through my body because I don't get asked that question, really ever. It just gets dismissed. Like, again, just having that care, attentiveness, the love, just to to understand like what your loved one is really going through, you know, outside of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I'm hearing that it's okay to, like, if someone approached you on the street, happened to see this, or if anyone who happened to see this approached you, you'd want them to ask questions if they don't understand and they're willing to be in that space with you to understand.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like random strangers, like, so because I have to use mobility aids sometimes for my condition, or like braces and things like that, I don't like when people ask me what happened to you.
Wow, you get that?
Random ass people, like literally people who are opening a door to a restaurant, like random people. What happened to you?
My whole life story right now.
Like really? Like, who are you? What happened to you? Not just
What do you say when that happens? What do you do?
So, thank you, love. My therapist and I have talked about this, luckily. So I have like petty answers, and then I have like none of your business type answers, but my favorite response is, I was born this way. Because people tend to be like, shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my guy, like, what happened to you? Like, that is such a drastic statement.
Do you feel like they ask you that question because you don't look disabled and you still have the braces? Yeah.
Oh, how many times people have said I look healthy or I look young? I hate when people comment about my size, like, because I'm petite.
Yeah.
You're petite as well, but you're more petite. We petite ranges, right? But someone who has GI issues, a part of her condition, and skin irritability and abnormalities, I don't like when people point out those abnormalities, like, oh, you look skinny, or like, because I can look skinny today and tomorrow I can look 5 months pregnant, like,
yeah.
And that messes with me because it's like, it doesn't mean anything.
Right, you're not your body at all, you know.
Exactly.
And it's gonna go through so many changes as you're, you know, going through this, and you know, people don't understand that. I get the same things. People think, oh, I'm skinny because of lupus and all these things. I'm like, I don't know. People are very ignorant. As soon as I tell people lupus, the first thing they're like, oh yeah, you're skinny. Is that right? And like they go back to like, what do you eat? You know, you have lupus because you don't eat.
Oh.
Family members, you know, that's what it is. You know, you don't eat. So, I'm like, I eat. Sorry, I eat.
Jeez, what do you believe? I have a full course meal over here. Yeah, I get that. I completely understand. It's extremely frustrating because when it happens with family and friends and loved ones, it's like, you guys have to consider that we're going in so many spaces where we're not having the accessibility or the accommodations that we need. And we're getting this slack from multiple people. You're supposed to be the support. Don't do that. It's not cute. It's not cute. No one likes to experience what this experience is, chronic pain and issues with mobility or anything like that, just for the hell of it. So yeah, do the work to stop being ignorant. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
And that's it, like.
And that's it.
So educate yourself.
And that's why Mary had a little lamb. Like, there's a lot of information out there. And unfortunately, accessibility is a big issue, and harassment and discrimination in the workplace is a big issue. Another thing that helps me is that there's a lot of people on social media I follow with ranging disabilities, from intellectual, like disabilities. I follow people who have who are on the spectrum for autism. I follow people who have become paralyzed. I follow people, as many people as I can, that have different experiences, so that I can absorb and learn and know what to say in those situations, or how to show support, because it's important. Yeah. All right, love. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, or anything else you want to share?
No, I'm really grateful for the podcast and our conversation. Again, like I said, it's super healing. I'm just so grateful to be here with you.
Yay. Honestly, I'm so happy this worked out. I'm grateful that you came on here. I want you back. I want you back because you're so awesome.
Yes, I'm gonna come back. I'm serious.
Please do.
Yeah.
You know you're invited anytime. Yeah, so thank you so much. Also, thank you guys for joining us here on the California Avenue podcast. Again, I'm your host, UB. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We drop episodes every Friday at 1 p.m. So please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification to stay updated on all future episodes. All right, until then, you guys, bye.